Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Thursday, the 13th of April, with a couple comments about Friday, the 14th, even though that's not going to be a trading day. We have a holiday here in the U.S., so the stock markets will be closed. There is some economic data due that day, though, so we'll talk about that because evidently banks aren't closed. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the futures in broad market form. I mean, we did not do anything substantial today. NASDAQ was down a little bit more than this. We'll go through that in a minute, but I mean, it doesn't materially change anything about the market, so this continues to be a doldrum period. Crude oil down 12 cents after a nice rally over the last week or so, closing at 52.97. Gold, big up day, up 14, breaking out again new highs for the year and new highs since November. Stocks and S&P cash was down 8. Again, that's kind of a blip at this point in time, but the Nasdaq 100 down 21. Yuck. And again, that 13 sell signal solidly in place there. SOX down 16. This does not look pretty at all. Biotechs were up 2 points, which is a blip for the 3,000 point index. The VIX was up another 70 cents. So the VIX continues to move despite light volume in the markets. Got the train at 1.14, puts the 10-day moving average at 1.33. That's one of the highest it has been. NASDAQ volume 1.5 billion shares. Really weak, worse than Tuesday by a lot. Back down near where Monday was. On one of the lowest 3 days of the year. It was actually worse early on. Picked up late in the day a little bit. Advanced decline ratio this time negative 1,000 on the New York and negative 1,000 on the Nasdaq. So really negative in terms of market breadth. A lot of stocks down. Google was not one of them. It was up $1.50. Apple was up 17 cents, which doesn't really matter. It was lower at one point in time during the day. Amazon down 6.13. Also kind of a blip on a $900 stock. Netflix down 52 cents. Still operating under that 13 sell signal. We got Tesla down 11.87. It's a big move down on Tesla, but very near the highs from recently. The 20-year bonds making a new high for the year, coming back a bit. So we've got this is the 20-year bond ETF Tlt up 67 cents. What's interesting about this, not only is it kind of a breakout of a base that's been forming ever since January, but if you look at it, really it's been forming since the bonds collapsed on Trump's election. And that suggested much higher interest rates much faster than anybody was wanting them, and kept pushing lower from election day all the way down until the middle of December, and then we've been basing ever since. This is a breakout of that base. It's actually, if you look carefully at this, what's important here is since the election day itself, there's only one day where bonds closed lower, and that was the day after the election. Everything else has been, they close higher. Every other day has been lower than this. So this is an interesting point for bonds. Interest rates trying to head back down, which suggests the weakening economy. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 59 points. Goldman Sachs down 2. Still short Goldman. All right, let's take a look at the ES and intraday action. So this was such a boring day. I mean, it's almost not measurable how bad this was. The first hour was awful, and not much else got better. Don't know what to say. I mean, it did drift lower a little bit at one point, but I mean, look at that first hour. It was untradeable, hour plus, and then the little drift lower, and then that was it. That was the range for the day, and everything after that was dead flat. NASDAQ side, which was down 21 points, like we said, it doesn't look much different. I mean, the range was horrible. It was half of the prior day's range. Virtually untradeable day. This is not what we look for as traders. We don't force things. We look for good action, and it just wasn't there early on. It was pretty clear after about 30 minutes how bad this was. What does that mean for tomorrow? Unfortunately, nothing good, because tomorrow is Thursday ahead of a 3-day weekend where markets are closed on Friday. So, if things are already this slow, a lot of people are going to leave early Thursday, if they even show up, to extend their 3-day weekend to a 4-day weekend. So here we go. We've got the PPI an hour before the bell, along with the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers. We've got Michigan sentiment 30 minutes into the market. We've got natty gas numbers an hour in. And then on Friday, we've got retail sales and CPI. That's at 8:30 a.m. Remember, the markets are closed, so you can't trade off of that until the next Monday. And business inventory is 30 minutes in. That's it. We'll have a new preview over the weekend for Monday. I don't know that I'm going to find anything new for the report for Thursday, but we will certainly be in the lab for the first hour or two just to see if anything happens. If not, everybody enjoy a long weekend, and we will talk to you after Easter. Have a good one.